You can go back.
Now from the HR.
Oh my god. Yeah, I gotta chill. Jobber Nation, welcome to another interesting episode of the Jobber Tears podcast. As always, I'm Janelle from HR, here with Sir Wilkins and Mrblacc, and we have a very, very special guest with us for this episode. I typically don't introduce anyone. I let them introduce themselves. So, sir, do you want to let the viewers and listeners know who you are?
First of all, you said this interview is going to be interesting. This is going to be very boring.
No, it is not. Shut up.
But this is Zuka King, the longest reigning APW action-packed wrestling heavyweight champion. Got the strap right here, the real APW title. Put that in the camera for you real quick. Right there.
Action-packed. Like action.
He out here standing for y'all. Well,
I do appreciate y'all having me on right now, so that's pretty cool. Thank y'all.
Thank you for joining us.
Always support the Jobber Tears podcast, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for joining us as well, with everything going on in the world today. Right. We always want to keep, things rolling. So we do appreciate you joining us today. Before we do get started, how's everyone doing so far? Quarantine life, all that jazz.
I'm living. I'm still living. I'm still out here. Still out here in these streets.
You are not in these streets. Like, don't.
That man in the street. That man in the streets. You know what I mean?
You don't know my life.
Exactly. You know that man life. You know that man struggle.
Oh, please. Mrblacc, what's going on with you?
Working. That's it.
Essential worker.
That's all I do is work, come home, go to sleep, and do it all over again. That's it. I live a boring life now.
You don't live a boring life.
Nah, life is different now. I legitimately wake up, train clients over video cam, like some porn shit. Go back, so they take a nap, then play some PlayStation.
So, what's some shows you guys have been watching with this week?
I watched that new movie on Netflix about the different floors. I watched that.
I watched it the other day too. Platform.
What is it called?
Yeah, platform.
Yeah, I watched it the other day too.
Yes.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's good. It's real good.
Yeah, it's good. I've been watching Static Shock, so I've been catching up on Static Shock. I've been watching from season 1.
Classic.
So, what else? I've been catching up on a lot of my YouTube shows. I've been playing. I don't have time for video games. What I do, I play like an hour or two, some Kingdom Hearts or something like that. That's it, and I go then do it all over again and go to work.
Final Fantasy coming out.
Yeah. I'm thinking about getting
this one. Got a PlayStation and don't know how to act.
Shout out to shout out to Leroy of House of Glory for giving me a Bob interview yesterday. Shout out to you, King.
HOG.
Sir Wilkins, what's some things you've been watching this week?
I watched a new Big Show.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, that shit is hilarious.
It's cute. It's a typical TGI Friday, TGIF sitcom. It's cute.
Got you.
I caught up on Law and Order.
Oh.
It was crazy. I saw my boy there.
You saw somebody new on Law and Order?
He was actors.
Okay.
Wow.
You on this shit? One. That's about it. I haven't really done anything else this week. I have to play mad PlayStation. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah, I know. It's PlayStation is like, Zuka King, what have you been watching on your spare time?
Platforms. I saw that. I played Tiger King last week.
Oh.
The greatest show ever. And I'm watching Dragon Ball Super right now.
Oh, classic right there.
Yeah, so I'm checking that out. It's my first time watching it, so I'm on like episode 21 right now. So it's pretty dope.
Yeah. Like I watched it. Like I enjoyed it. To me, like it had its ups, it had its downs, but overall it was a great series from start to finish. Like I enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool so far.
So yeah, this week I watched the Big Show's show.
How was that for you? I didn't get a chance to watch it. How was that?
It fits Big Show. Like if you like, I felt like if it was like his life, it would be that like post wrestling. A movie everyone should watch is called Coffee and Kareem. It's on Netflix.
It's about interracial relationship or something?
It sounds like
it kind of is. So basically, Stu. So Stu from The Hangover is dating Taraji P. Henson, and basically he's getting to know her son, whose name is Kareem, and Kareem's mouth is reckless. Like if you ever thought your child, like imagine a child like cussing and talking about ass and everything, like at like
what
10.
So that's Taraji P's son, right?
Correct. So he's trying to get rid of the white dude from dating his mama. And he's a cop.
Oh.
So he goes into it like, I don't fuck with pigs. Like it's crazy. But it's a good movie. It's a good movie.
I gotta check that out. Like I might actually see that.
No, it's actually really funny.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
What else did I watch? Oh, and today I've been watching Nailed It, which is a baking show. It's a baking show. It's people that can't really bake that bake.
So do they try to eat it? The contestants, how do they determine something good or
So
not?
there's a judge. So there's a world-renowned guy that owns like mad restaurants.
Of course.
And then you got Nicole Bear, who's a comedian. She's the host. And they always have a special guest, and they all try out all three people's like bakes and stuff like that. It's a cute little show. But also speaking about shows this week, let's start into our first topic, which everyone knows every Tuesday, Dark Side of the Ring comes on. And this week was about Brawl for All, which I don't care what anyone says is one of my favorite things of the Attitude Era. Because it was obnoxious. Yeah, I thought it was entertaining.
It was. So far from when I watched it, it was good. Like the fact that it was basically based around JBL. I didn't know that part. I didn't know how the whole concept started.
Like the background of it, I had no idea about.
Yeah. And the fact nobody came out of there strong. And the fact Bart Gunn did what he was supposed to do is actually try to win this, he get punished. So that alone just taught me, like, it just showed me a lot about what Vince always do throughout the years. You get yourself over by yourself, he does not like that because you give yourself too many creative control. Art Anderson, shout out to Uncle Arn, I was talking to the other day, and he was telling me that how that with the whole Bray Wyatt and Ray Orton, the reason why they got cut so short because they got over. And they feel when they get over by itself, they give the talent too much creative control. So that was my biggest lesson. As I told, I was just like, this man did his job, and he's getting punished, and he got embarrassed by Butterbean. Wow, just because he did what he had to do, and the whole concept was based on let's teach JBL a lesson, and he shortened so many careers. For what? For what?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
Zuka, tell us what you think.
What were your thoughts on the episode?
I hated it. I didn't like it at all.
You didn't like the Dark Side of the Ring episode or the whole brawl?
No, the Brawl for All. The Dark Side of the Ring episode was cool. I mean, they always got good episodes. It just, I was just not a fan of the Brawl for All. You know what I mean? Especially like knowing the behind the scenes stuff about it, how it was made just for one guy.
One guy.
You know what I mean? And then just on top of that, like, these guys are street fighters. These guys are not like actual boxers, but they had a whole boxing setup. But clearly, that it exposed that these guys that they're not boxers and stuff like that, or kickball, or ready to fight on that type of level because wrestling training and boxing training are two different things. You know what I mean? Two different type of cardio, two different calisthenics you gotta have, stuff like that. So I feel like a lot of guys got exposed, and then on top of that, like, okay, Bart Gunn literally proved that he is the toughest man in the locker room. And they still embarrassed him. They still played him. And I think the main reason why I think they did him like that is because he knocked out. Did he knock out Bob Holly?
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
He did.
He knocked out Bob Holly. He knocked out Godfather. He knocked out Bradshaw. Vincent probably was thinking like, man.
Oh, and Dr. Death.
Dr. Death.
So he knocked out 4 of the toughest guys in the locker room. They could have easily thought about, well, say if we put him in a program with Austin, he could just easily knock Austin out and take the strap for himself. He can go in business for himself. That could be one idea, but just to straight bury him like that, I don't. I mean, he was a big guy, he had a good look,
very good look,
and
very good look.
He proved to y'all that he is the toughest man in y'all locker room, and y'all did nothing with this dude. Nothing.
So, Wilkins, your thoughts on the episode?
I enjoyed the episode. Like Zuka said, Dark Side of the Ring always puts out quality products when it comes to those episodes. I learned a lot. Like,
you do.
One of the things that I really learned and I did really like fucking love. Well, before I tell you what I learned, what I loved was Jim Cornette. I'm not a fan of what he says and many of his beliefs, but he embodied the statement he said in the beginning. He was like, wrestling is not fucking fake.
Yep.
Like, what the hell are you? It's not fake at all. I will never call it fake. I will never call it anything else besides what it's supposed to be called. It is pre-orchestrated in certain situations, but that thing, it hurts.
Yep.
And then when we saw the end with the draws, how he like, it was a regular ass move. D'Lo did nothing, and Homeboy was like paralyzed from the neck down.
Mm-hmm.
That just shows of wrestling in that part. Now, Mr. Gunn. It was so funny because you mentioned something, Zuka. You were like, how wrestling training and street fighting is completely different, right?
Right.
And when they said that he fought Butterbean, and Butterbean was like, yo, he tried to box me. No.
Right.
No. I'm taking you out.
Right.
Not fought me like the way he fought JBL, he might have had a chance. But he tried to outbox me. Right. And it just, that whole episode showed you what training is about on every different sport. Like how you need to respect another person's lane.
Well, yep.
Like, you don't go into wrestling thinking you can just do it all off the rip. And that's what I remember people gave Becky Lynch a lot of shit for saying like, yo, I don't like these MMA guys just coming in here and thinking like this is easy.
Right.
She was 100% right. Janelle, don't say nothing. Because I know you don't like Becky. But,
I don't know why.
But I don't like Ronda like that either. So, I mean, I wasn't going to say nothing.
Yeah, but I know you got something smart to say about Becky. But one of the things is that I appreciated them showing that because it showed that every sport is different.
Yeah.
Sport need a certain type of training to do it. Every combat sport, you got to train differently. And I appreciated seeing that because some of the guys in the locker room were thinking that they were tough guys. This shit rocked.
Right.
This shit rocked.
And it did.
But the thing about it, you mentioned something else as well, Zuka. Mr. Gunn showed how tough he was. And he was the underdog in the situation. Motherfucker, they had a whole Rocky story right there.
Yep.
Shit. But it is true. They didn't want him to win. Because the way Vince saw it and the way Vince saw it was just like, yo, this is just like regular wrestling. Everything is predetermined. No, motherfucker. This is real life whooping. You don't know who's going to win.
He was legit knocking people out. It was just like, what else did you do?
Exactly. Like, you got to push him. And then it's like, yo, this ain't wrestling. You can't decide the ending of this. It's up in the air. I don't care how strong you think somebody is. One fuck up that happened to Godfather, you're done. So it was a great episode. It really opened shined the light on a lot of things that we as fans didn't see at the time. I'm not gonna lie to you. I hated Brawl for All. I hated it as a kid. I thought it was channel every time I saw it because it was so ignorant. It was World Star Hip Hop before World Star Hip Hop. Wrestling.
Or like when Hot 97 used to do Smack Fest.
Yeah, basically. Like it's like what is this? Go ahead, Zuka.
It did nothing for any wrestler on that who was in there.
Nothing.
And then the wrestler that won, they just completely buried him. So what they basically showed was, okay, yeah, he beat all our guys, but we're going to get a real boxer to beat him. So you kind of buried everybody twice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bars.
Yeah.
Bars.
Yeah.
Bars. Come
So
on. Zuka came in first.
You could have easily just have Dr. Death come in, run through all the toughest guys in the territory in the promotion or whatever, and he could have wrestled Austin. But
that's perfectly hurt. Another thing that I did love to see was the rivalry between Vince Russo
and Cornette.
That's yeah.
That's how Russo got hired.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Vince was like, "Yo, I like what you're writing in the Raw magazine. Come upstairs." And Vince Russo, he's a creative guy, but I can see why Cornette doesn't like him. I know you're
I'm always team Jim Cornette, man. Always team Jim Cornette.
I mean,
we don't rock with Russo.
I mean,
why is such a fan of Cornette, Zuka?
Because man, like one Cornette, he loves the business. He's passionate about the business. He tries to. I mean, I wouldn't say protect it because now we just talk about everything on live video and shit like that and record it so everybody knows it. Everybody thinks they know everything about the business, but we're I'm trying to get the right word. We're putting a lot out there, but he still tries to like keep up with the history of the business. He wants guys to respect the business. He does a lot. He did a lot for wrestling at the time, stuff like that. So that's why. And then when I listen to his interviews, some stuff he do say be ignorant, stuff like that. But I know he coming from his heart when he talking about all this stuff about wrestling and stuff like that. He don't want like people think he don't want AEW to succeed, but it ain't like that. He just want the boy to present wrestling as wrestling and not a comedy show or some friends with friends show or some crazy shit like that. He's just a guy that believes in wrestling because that's what he's been his whole life. He was a photographer in Memphis. He became a manager. He became a manager in Memphis. Then he's managed the Midnight Express, World Class, Mid South, the Carolinas, all over. So this man, he done had his own promotion. And a guy like Vince Russo telling you, "Oh, the business is fake." You can add this. Nobody cares about the business, but there's a guy who's been in the business his whole life and dedicated his whole life to this. And then you got some magazine writer that's gonna come out the blue, and you'll be like, "Oh, that stuff matters." And then clearly his idea really showed in that brawl for all because guys got hurt, talented guys got hurt for no reason. You had guys like Too Cold Scorpio, who was amazing in the ring. Why is he in the brawl for all? You got Godfather, who's charismatic as fuck. Why is he in it? You know what I mean? You got Bradshaw. You got Dr. Death, one of the best big men in wrestling. You know what I mean? One of the toughest guys in wrestling. Why are they in stupid, crazy matches like this? Who would have thought of that besides Vince Russo?
Yeah.
Miss HR, what are your thoughts?
Some valid points from all of you gentlemen. I mean, as a kid, I loved Brawl because I like things that are different. Like, I like things that are outside of the box. And that's kind of one thing I will give Vince Russo is, like, that shit is completely outside of the box. Now, I think the ending of that episode, the one thing I took away that he said was, like, now looking at it differently and in the type of space that he's in and knowing the risk and things like that, he wouldn't do it ever again.
I can't see your face, you know.
You can't see me? Can't? Can you see me now?
Yeah, go ahead. Talk. Keep talking.
Oh,
It's
can you see me?
like it's like this. Now I can see you.
Okay. Now we working. But like you said, Mr. Black, I love the behind the scenes. That's the one thing I can appreciate about the dark side of the ring is you can understand things from a different perspective that you didn't know at that time. So like then I didn't know that, I didn't see it as them burying Bart Gunn. Like I just was like, oh shit, Buddy Bean fucked him up and that was it. But then literally a year after he was gone. Like he never went in the ring again. He never did nothing with WWF at the time. Like he was gone. So now looking at it as an adult and that I know a smidge, like a tiny percent of the business, I'm like, yeah, like they did nothing with him. They dropped him, even though he built himself up. Like he didn't use anything else, but he built himself up by knocking all of them out. And they dropped the ball on him. So I don't think that's fair to him and his career either. And I was telling Zuka too.
Bring the camera up higher.
It's hurt. I can't hold the phone like this. Like,
I mean, you could at least set it up against something.
I can't though. Wait, can you see it like this?
You only see your nose and your mouth.
Yeah.
Now that's perfect.
Okay, good. So as I was saying, friendships and stuff were broken because of Brofo. Like I didn't know Bob Holly and Bart Gunn were close like that.
Yeah.
And for them not to be friends after he knocked them out, I mean, and every right, who wants to be friends with, somebody that knocked you out like that, like embarrassed you. So it just
But the thing that I noticed the one thing I noticed about the whole Jim Russo and Jim Cornette, Vince Russo, wow. Vince Russo and Jim Cornette that's two different ways that people look at the business. Because you got the Vince Russo type of fans that, all right, they see that, all right, it is what it is, this, that, and third. I'm just here for the oh my gosh moment. I just want to get on my seat and go crazy, forget about real life. Now, Jim Cornette is the type of dude, like he's the hardcore fan. Like he's the best of us and also the worst of us. There is the worst fans where, I don't care, oh my gosh, they buried him. And there's other fans where, oh, I see the bigger picture. Let them have time. So what they just demonstrated is us as fans as looking back at it. And what I'm realizing now, the Attitude Era birthed out, if you really think about it, birthed out this era of wrestling where it's reality. At some point, we're gonna suspend your belief. Wrestling evolved with the time. Sometimes, not WWE all the time, it's still, kind of years back, but they still somewhat evolved with the time how they present their products. Because we went from crash television to today's modern day crash television are, the Kevin Owens, the guy who had the big belly but doing all these tricks. We got Big Game Leroy where he's playing the switch, and Jim Cornette does not like that either. So what I'm saying is basically some of what I'm saying is they are what we are as wrestling fans. Jim Cornette and Vince Russo.
But to piggyback off of that a little bit, the thing is they're both huge at what they do.
Yeah.
Both need to be able to bend. Now imagine if Jim Cornette and Vince Russo ran a company together.
That never happened.
Oh, yeah.
No. On Earth 2, it probably happened. It probably happened.
Threatening this guy over the phone and his family. That's some wild shit.
Yeah.
That's
some
wrestling.
Wrestling, bro.
But think about it. Let's us all four imagine those two men able to bring their great minds together. Because the thing about Russo is that he's way left. To the point have a leash on him to bring him back to like, yo, bro, what are you doing? He's the same for the fucking title on David Arquette.
Right.
It's something that everyone talks about to this day.
Exactly.
I would give Vince Russo that.
And I understand it. Now imagine him taking like Jim Cornette worked with him, polishing his mind a little bit, you would have something great between the two.
Yeah.
It's because it's like Republicans and Democrats, those two. It's like conservatives and liberals.
Yeah.
Like what Vince Russo was thinking was great because Jerry Springer was the thing that was popping at the time. Remember when we were growing up? We were all watching that.
All watching, yeah.
So it made sense for him to take a little bit of that element and bring it to wrestling because at the end of the day, we loved it. Puppies!
We needed it.
And Zuka. Because I want to hear what you have to say about it.
I just think Vince Russo has some good ideas and so he does some good stuff, especially with Stone Cold.
Mm-hmm.
I think with Vince Russo, there's something that's really good, and then there's some things that's just really bad. I think there's like no in between with them.
Yeah, and that's
I agree.
Sometimes when you're a genius at what you do.
Right.
But couldn't you say the same thing about Cornette? There's some things that are really good, and there are some things that are really bad. And with Cornette, there is no gray.
But the one thing that Russo mentioned was that when he got there, Vince was around a bunch of yes men.
Mm.
That's Pat Patterson, Vince, Jim Cornette. What's homeboy's name with the glasses? That he runs SmackDown now. What's his name?
You talking about
Bruce Pritchard?
Bruce Pritchard. You have them. You have his inside people. What Vince Russo brought was an outside look because they mentioned a couple of things that people didn't notice. Vince is so fucking rich. He has not lived a regular life in a long fucking time.
Right.
So Vince Russo brought the outside look of the world.
Right.
Because we're all in this wrestling bubble together. And the deeper you get, the more you forget about what's outside the bubble. And Vince Russo was outside the bubble. And he brought what's outside the bubble in. Now, granted, some of that shit was way fucking left. But when I was 13, 12 years old, I was doing a 3D in the hallway. We were doing
the attitude. Looking back at it now, the attitude era was like, God damn. But back then we was younger. To keep that audience, you had to do that stuff. You know what I mean? Back then.
But then again, though, like you cannot look at the attitude era.
Hold on, Mr. Black. I want Zuka to kind of expand on his thoughts on the attitude era because my brother loves the ruthless aggression era.
I love.
So I want you to. Do you prefer the ruthless aggression era or the attitude era?
I like the ruthless aggression era better because it was more wrestling, and them boys was going out there wrestling hard. Like you had Benoit, Eddie, Angle, Ray, JBL, all those guys. Those guys going out there having like hard physical wrestling matches. The attitude wasn't really about wrestling; it was about antics and making people laugh and DX doing the cross chop and just like it was like you're watching you're watching a television show and just like the wrestling is just there just to say, oh, this is the final thing. This is this is who we're gonna put down on it. Everything else is what's important. But when you had the ruthless aggression, it was all about wrestling.
That's interesting because two different people were running it at the time.
Yeah.
You can see like Paul Heyman was one of the top guys running the ruthless aggression era. And then you see Vince Russo. So you saw two different minds working at that. But the one thing I loved about the Attitude Era had to be a TV show. It was fucking Living Color for wrestling fans.
Yeah, because you were getting different skits and different things and
exactly.
Yeah, it was very colorful, you know. It was very colorful.
Say that again?
Yeah. It was very colorful.
But it was something that we needed because let's think about it. The era before was the pretty boy, the babyface clean cut era, right? That was a new generation, right?
Cartoon era.
The cartoon kind of era. And then now imagine all of us are around between the ages of 11 and 15. You're not gonna watch a bunch of baby faces on TV. You want some regular shit on TV. And that's how you kept that. And then the older you get, the one thing I learned on John Cena's ruthless aggression part. He talked about how he looked around and saw how the audience changed. Because by the time the ruthless aggression era came around, we were old. We were in either our late teens, early 20s at the time.
Yep.
So you don't want to see antics. You want to see different type of shit. You now you're more about the sport, and a lot of times those fans were wrestling at the time too.
Right.
So it's so many things that go into it, but I fucking loved it. At the end of the day, I fucking loved it. That's why I kept talking about it, because that one just opened up so many ways of business.
Right.
And I love Vince Russo, because at the end of the day, he opened the door for a lot of crazy shit.
And the one thing I did like about Russo too is that he did something with everybody. Like everybody was on a storyline, everybody was doing something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like today, like you got some of the most talented wrestlers in the world. You only see them like one time a week, or no time at all. You know.
But then again, the big difference between Vince Russo like wrestling then and now, the roster was a lot smaller.
Yeah,
a lot smaller. So you're able to just do so much more of what you have, and it wasn't that much writers. So again, I don't know. Like,
but we got more shows now.
Yeah, we do. But also now with wrestling it's still trying to find its footing back again. You know, because it's still trying to be mainstream, but yet still be loyal to the hardcore fan at the same exact time.
Right.
So it's still hard because I don't know, but the world's changing. I realize that WWE is still trying to. They have it because there's no one else, but you can tell they're losing their footing as years go on.
Mr. Black, you said there's nobody else. What about AEW?
What about AEW?
But no. You have to understand, you're going against a dynasty that kings and kings have died through the years as this empire rise through the years.
Oh, like King of Kings?
Yeah, AEW just started.
What did you say, Joe?
I said King of Kings.
Oh, you said Triple H? What you trying to say?
Oh my God.
I still feel like to this day WWE still do more with the antics, and the wrestling is just.
Oh, but like my brother said earlier, like Vince don't go outside, so he doesn't know. Like his humor is pretty dark humor, and they said if you do certain stuff, like if you fart, if you puke, or if you do something nowadays, and he will love it. So, he'll guarantee to push that through. So all I'm saying is this: Vince is just so in his bubble because he's so rich, and he literally called WWE a universe.
Yeah.
That's not egotistic at its finest. Let's be serious here. And
wait.
There
is the Job and Tears universe.
That's what I'm sitting here like,
But all I'm saying is this. But it's like he created his own universe. He doing his thing, but overall it was just like Vince is just he likes what he likes.
Yeah,
and right then it showed you in Brawl for everything is if Vince didn't choose you, then Vince is not gonna go forth with you. Now he's more open to that. Because look at Kofi and a couple other guys. He's more open to that.
Yep.
But it's just now he see it as then I get why, because he was going against a war against WCW. Yep. He couldn't risk but so much.
Right.
So I kind of see it that way.
Quickly, guys, I know Janelle's trying to fix some stuff. WrestleMania. What were your thoughts? Zuka, go first.
I appreciated it. The guys and girls went out there and performed during all this stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
So it was dope to really, because I haven't really watched like the shows with no audience until I watched WrestleMania, and I was like, they're still going out here working hard, performing, doing what they got to do, to make it happen. I didn't watch the night 2. Only thing I saw was the Fire Funhouse, and I mean, it wasn't a wrestling match, but I get it. You know what I mean? People like they want that new movie style thing that they're doing right now with wrestling. So if the people like it, it is good. And the Boneyard match, that was the old school coming out of me.
Say what you want to say.
It was a good movie.
Bring up the camera a little bit, Janelle.
It was a good. To me, it was a good movie. It was something different for WWE to do. It was just a good movie to me. Like
it was. I'll give you three things real quick because I know my brother got to get his points across. And stuff. Now, the best match of the night, the best like pure match, was Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte.
I think
that was one of the best matches I've seen in a while, and I was telling people that was going to be one of the dark horse matches of during WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte Flair to me right now is Mrs. WrestleMania moving forward. I've said it before. She's like Al Pacino, DiCaprio was coming to the ring because you know it's going to be good. You still know what type of good is going to come in.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And you who enjoy the technical stuff, the pure aspect of the art of wrestling, she portrayed on fucking all-time high.
Right.
On Sunday. Was it Sunday day 4, right? Was day 2?
Yeah, Sunday. They was day 2.
It was day 2. Yeah, it was day 2. Yeah.
Yeah, it was all day 2. She portrayed a perfect heel within the ring.
Right.
She did. She did.
Once again, that Boneyard match saved Undertaker's career. And I want people to understand the importance of AJ Styles to the wrestling world. I'm not going to lie, it took me a while to turn the corner on AJ Styles, but I had to really go back to watch his old stuff.
Of course.
But when Kurt Angle tells The Undertaker, hey, you want to redeem yourself? Wrestle AJ Styles. He will make you look good. That level of respect is
ridiculous.
The Boneyard match wasn't really a match. It was more of a production, but it was beautifully done.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was a great movie. It was done well. I just
you had the Druids, aka the Putties, come out. You had it was dope as hell, man.
There was a lot of extra.
Oh man.
It was dope as hell. The last thing I want to get off is the Firefly Funhouse. Say that fast 5 times.
The Firefly.
Absolutely not.
It was another production done, but it was activity at its finest. And you start reading about it, you're like, yo, John Cena helped with like producing it, of come up with certain ideas for the whole thing. Yeah. And I think he is at a point where he's giving back to the business now, because he was taken for so long, taking the business. Now he's about back, because at this point he's on his way out. It's like the veteran ball player. Like, you know what, homeboy, you're going to start. I'll come off the bench now. I don't need these starting minutes. And those are like my major 3 points from that whole thing. What about you, Mr. Black and Janelle?
With me, some of my points was some of my points was definitely the Firefly Funhouse and the Boneyard match. I realized it was aimed at 2 different audiences, and it definitely shows what WrestleMania is basically all about. It's a big commercial for WWE. The first night demonstrated it brought back the old fans, the older fans that may look at Undertaker and go, oh, shoot, Undertaker still wrestle? When I was looking at my job, to Undertaker to say, he still wrestles? And they automatically said, who's this AJ Styles? They look it up. Boom. The Firefly Funhouse. Oh, I'm familiar with John Cena, either from movies or I remember him, the Dr. Thugonomics, this, that, and third. You are aiming towards the people who the quote unquote the woke ones, people that go on that memory lane like, oh shoot, it was commercial for WWE Network. Right. And it demonstrated a new type of character that get in that audience that they may have been lacking, such as the emo kids. The kids that was all about the dark music, the Juice WRLD type of kids. It brought in that audience. Because they don't have that type of character in WWE. Now they have that type of character. WrestleMania being a commercial, it demonstrates that. And the third thing I'm noticing is that, there's a difference between wrestlers who are the total package and wrestlers who have different specialties. The guys who are total package are Brock Lesnar's, the Drew McIntyre's, where they don't need the audience just to tell a story. These are the guys who tell the story within the ring. While the other guys, such as the Dolphs, the Otises, they need that audience to add a little sizzle to their acts. Right. So those are some of the things I took away from WrestleMania weekend.
My turn. Let's start. Actually, I'm gonna start completely on the opposite spectrum since you guys kind of already spoke about the Boneyard and Bray and Cena. Shout outs to Sami Zayn and Daniel Bryan because I feel like it's the match that no one really talks about but should talk about.
It was underwhelming.
Well, it's for me. I liked it because I was able to see different. Like it to me told more of a story than the actual like wrestling of it. Like It was something Joaquin had spoke about. Shout out to Battle Club when he said Sami Zayn is one of the best heels in the business. And as everyone knows, I don't really fuck with Sami Zayn like that anyway. But I can respect the fact that when he comes out, that type of heat, he gets that. And the way that he tells the story, and now he kind of got his own crew. It's like, yo, he's really trying to build something.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with Sir Wilkins in terms of Charlotte being Miss WrestleMania. It seems like every WrestleMania she wins a title.
So,
well, right?
Huh?
Not last year.
No, not last year. But she was the main event. Like she was one of the 3 females to ever main event WrestleMania.
I just love how in-ring works. When it comes to WrestleMania.
Oh, her and Rhea Ripley's match was probably one of the best women technical wrestling match I've seen in probably the last like 5 years. Hands down.
It was good.
I have a quick question for you guys. Speaking of WrestleMania, Goldberg and everything you mentioned.
William Goldberg.
Did you hear about what Goldberg did?
What did he do?
So supposedly Ray was supposed to go over on Goldberg. But Goldberg was like, nah, we ain't doing that. I'm a superhero to these kids, and they got to see me beat the Fiend. That's not going to look right.
Yep.
Now, the question I got to ask, do you agree with him about the way he was thinking?
Oh, because he didn't want to job out?
I do agree with Goldberg. I agree with Goldberg. And it's not the fact that I like him.
Of course you do.
It's not the fact that I like him. And just that that's true. What more can you do out of that? You know? He had to beat him. He had to beat him for the old school fans, for the kids. He had to slay the dragon. And it drew more money, didn't it? I think his picture with the belt on Instagram was like the most liked picture on Instagram that WWE ever had. Him winning the belt. So that drew in a lot of audience just saying, hey, imagine just like he was saying earlier about the older fans of wrestling. Like Undertaker's still wrestling. It's the same thing with Goldberg. Like Goldberg's still wrestling and he got a belt. I mean, now granted, I know us as fans we ain't gonna like the decision because we want the Fiend to be that guy, but at the end of the day, that makes perfect sense at the time.
Exactly.
But then what does it do for, like, the future, though? Like, I mean, luckily, because of Bray's character, it didn't diminish him completely.
Yeah, it didn't.
That Fire Funhouse match, or whatever you call it, that brought him back.
Right. So that's why, like, if there was anyone that Goldberg was gonna beat like that, it would have been him because anyone else, it would have been a bigger loss.
Mm-hmm.
So, but for William Goldberg to sit here and be like, listen, guys, I don't want to lose to Bray, then why? What are you contributing to the business then? Like, besides you being there for 2.5 seconds, and then you end up losing at WrestleMania to Braun Strowman.
Braun Strowman's a bigger guy too.
Yeah, you're right. You're right on so many levels, but you don't know what the intentions were. Because he did have a point of like, my whole thing with William was it shocked the business for a second.
Yeah.
He got people talking. Lots of seats when it came to WrestleMania if the COVID didn't happen. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of see where he was coming from. But Janelle is kind of right. What are you doing for the business? And this is something that I said before was what Cena was doing. You're giving back to the business. Because when you're a superstar, and you can talk about it, Zuka, you take from the business. Because people are giving you so much. Like you pay, now you're on top. So you're getting all the fruits of your labor, and you're getting plus more.
Right.
Especially like Goldberg, who came in and got the rocket put on his back. So what is he giving back? It's kind of like that's the whole thing. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, cut you off. Go ahead.
No. Go. What are you trying to say?
Just how you started when you said he got the rocket when he got in. He's never, and he might have been taught this later on, but he's never really been taught the business. He just
I was just about to say that.
That's a good point.
In. He's a guy that brought in, brother, we can have you beat everybody. He didn't go into business the traditional way, coming in, green guy, first match, getting beat up every night, blah, blah, then you finally get the break. He had the break off top. So his whole career, he was always, he couldn't go to first match. He was main event in that. It's just what it is. And I don't think he was taught that aspect of the business where it's time to give back. What did he have to give back?
Well, nothing, because his whole comeback, William Goldberg's whole comeback story was because I wanted my son to watch me wrestle. It was never like this, like I love the business kind of situation. It was, I want the fruits of my labor to be seen by my family. So to me, I was already like, no, I'm not signing up for that. Like,
there's no difference in him and Brock.
Even
no, Brock is a little different.
Brock is very different from that because Brock deep down loves the business, but he won't never, I think, let people know that.
He understands it. He gets it.
He gets the business, but the thing about the thing with Brock is, and this is something I low-key love about him, he knows his worth.
Mm-hmm.
And
he's the most
being
paid
in
athlete
the business and then seeing certain things, like seeing the inside of the business, a lot of wrestlers don't know their worth.
Yep.
Especially on the independent scene.
Exactly. I was just about to say that.
Because I remember one of my homegirls told me her booking fee, and I was like, what the fuck? Brock knows, like, yo, I'm that guy. When the thing about Brock, and I will never forget this when I found out about this, he was an OVW, and he said, I don't want to do this shit no more. Put me onto the main roster.
Yeah.
Like, tell me something. Either I'm going to stay here or leave.
And he got an agent, too, to negotiate his contract.
That's what I'm saying, because he knows his value.
He had a 2-year contract compared to other guys during that time was having 5 years, 10 years. He had a 2-year contract.
Exactly. So another thing about Brock is that, and I agree with Janelle, he does love the business, because you forget, he's an athlete. He loved his competition. I knew he loved the business when he was smiling at Roman.
Like when my man can bop to MVP's music, I was like, yo, this nigga loves the business. Like, come on. Like,
he hates the excess that comes with it. The traveling all the time. The fucking, like, the crazy schedule. He's a simple dude and just loves to train and fight.
Yep. And then you look at it, he's the number one attraction. He has the number one manager. He's the number one draw. And this motherfucker does 2 moves.
Did you see Forbes' list?
Huh?
Did y'all see Forbes' list of how much he gets?
$100 million. No, $10 million.
No, it's like $10 million. He's the
$10 million,
highest,
the most.
He's the highest paid person in WWE.
Damn, why didn't you know all that?
Yep. And got a private jet, bro.
Well, yeah, because how else was he gonna get to the United States with all this shit popping off? Like,
and then he looks believable too. Like,
one of my trainers, he always says the same thing about Brock. He says, I don't like Brock, but he's made wrestling believable.
Yep.
When you watch him wrestle, you're like, he's gonna fuck somebody up.
Yep.
When you see him wrestle with smaller dudes, like, this makes sense of how this match is going. Yep. And we sometimes shit on Brock and we compare him to Goldberg, but nah.
He's no comparison to William Goldberg ever.
He's like the epitome of a freak of nature. Like, how do you go from wrestling, go to football, and you haven't played football in over 10, 15 years, and almost make the Vikings team? He almost makes the Vikings team.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he was in Madden too.
Yeah, like he almost makes it. That is crazy.
Yep.
And then you go to UFC, you have a whole infections in the inside of your stomach, and still kicking motherfuckers out.
Yep.
He's just a different type of person. You gotta respect it. Goldberg is great. I still love Goldberg, but
yeah, he don't Brock Lesnar level.
Yeah, it's like a nice Ford truck to a Ferrari, son.
He's a fucking hoopty. Don't even do that.
And then when you watch Brock Lesnar's matches, it's so simple and old school. It's just it doesn't start off with the shine, the heat, the comeback. It's immediately started at the heat, and then he gives you a great comeback, and then he finally put the nail in the coffin. But he gets the people up, all the way up, and then he brings it right back down. But he does it immediately. Like, there's no wasted motion. There's no wasted, and he sells phenomenal. He sells like
he's a great seller.
His facial expressions
He's a great seller.
and everything like that. Oh man, the details. That's what makes Brock a complete athlete. A complete professional wrestler.
One of the greatest examples of what Zuka said is his match versus Rey Mysterio.
Oh my God.
Then for a split second, I remember I was in the bar at Legend when we were watching this match. We all for a second thought Rey was about to win.
Hell
for
yeah.
A second, we were all like, yo, might
Rey's
pull this.
about to take this home.
You had his fucking son doing the
619.
Yeah.
I was like,
and it put on top of him. When that pin on top of each other, I was like, this is it.
I was like, oh, it's a wrap.
Dude,
and then when fucking Brock kicked out, I said, oh.
Damn. By him and his son. They literally just jump over top of Brock and everything. I was like, oh my God.
And now
they might pick hard.
Now let's all look at this moment right here.
Mm-hmm.
Brock Lesnar and Rey Mysterio's match got people who are very knowledgeable of the wrestling business into that match as a fan, not as somebody like, man, I can't wait to see this motherfucker do this fucking 450. Oh no, he botched that. You ain't worrying about that. You want to see Rey Mysterio beat Brock Lesnar. That was the whole purpose of that. And that's when you get out Brock Lesnar. Now if you watch like Ricochet or fucking Cedric, you be like, man, we gonna see this dude do these cool ass moves. But that's just it. I'm not taking nothing away from these dudes. These dudes phenomenal. But when you see Brock Lesnar name on that marquee, you be like, dang, boy, I want that. I want Ricochet, or I want this person to beat Brock Lesnar. And then when you finally think that motherfucker about to lose, nope, he swiped the rug right from under you. And then now you gotta wait again for the next.
Yeah, for the next person to do it.
The meeting.
I got something about that. One thing that I noticed that you said was the Cedrics and stuff like that. I kind of understand why Vince buries certain dudes. Not all the time, but sometimes. Because I think that he tried to teach him to be more of a complete wrestler. Because someone like Kofi, I guess in the long run, he realized that Kofi was missing that edge to his character. And what happened? He got that edge and became world champion. Yeah. Drew McIntyre needed that edge to a little more fine-tuning. He was just too nice. What happened? He's world champion. Now, when you look at guys such as Zack Ryder, shout out to Uncle Arn Anderson, he was talking about that. He said, Zack Ryder's the guy that will come to work and do what you have to do on time every single day. He does everything right. But then I just realized something. Zack Ryder's missing that edge. He's missing that go-to, my nigga, I'm going to slaughter through your whole roster, become the man. Because Zack Ryder has no business not to be at least in the world title picture at this point in his career. With his look, how he buffed up, his motivation, everything. So in the long run, I guess why he pushes guys like Brock Lesnar. Because Brock Lesnar demanded what he wanted. And he realized that, Brock is a man. And I cannot do certain stuff to him. I got to respect him. So he sees each other eye to eye. Because I heard that recently. Like, he told Vince, y'all stupid for having these empty arena, stop just cancel Wrestlemania. The fact that Brock said that, everybody was behind Brock, it shows magnitude that Brock got the juice in WWE because Vince respects guys like that. This is why not everybody become world champion because not everybody has that edge to them that Vince likes.
Right. Brock got that brass ring. He just ain't saying he got it.
Cesaro needs that edge. I bet you when Cesaro gets mean and said, "Nah, I'm not going. No, he's not going over me." Watch.
I think what you're talking about is fire. And you see the top guys with fire and intensity in their matches. That's what I think you're speaking of. And you are 100% right when you speak about how you got to show Vince you're a man, because there's a story that Kofi said that he was on a plane with Vince, and Vince was talking some shit like, "Yo, you would never get over."
Fact.
Like, was
Jericho
like,
told that story.
Straight shitting on him. And we all been there. Your boss say some wild shit, but you're trying to keep your job.
Right.
So you can't ignore it or shrug it off. But Jericho pulls Kofi to the side, this is why Jericho is the illest dude of all time. Because he helps people. He's the one who gives back to the business.
He does.
So the story goes, Jericho pulls Kofi to the side. He's like, "Yo, go back there. Say something to him. Yo, ask him if he want to fight you. Say some wild shit."
Yeah, I remember.
Next thing you know, Kofi goes back. He starts fighting. He's literally fighting Vince in a legit fight. And Kofi said that saved his career.
Told you.
It's one of those things in life where when you have to take life by the horns, Vince is kind of like your lifeline in WWE. So you kind of got like, "Yo, what the fuck is wrong with you, B?"
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
I can't say it works for everybody, but that's how it is sometimes.
He respects. I know Vince respects Cody. He definitely respects Cody. This is why that he lets Cody. We got you, because he respects the fact that he respects him.
I fucking made NXT. He better put some respect on Cody's name, bro. When your dad is one of the main reasons why your women's division right now is the best the best in the world.
Yeah, that's a fact.
You got to put respect on it. And then you are right. Cody says, "I'm gonna hold my nuts and I'm gonna become a star. Fuck you," and he did that.
Yep.
I mean, that's sometimes what you have to do just in anything in life. Like sometimes you just gotta go with the naysayers and be like, I don't want to hear that, and then you just really focus on everything that you have planned, because that even goes like for like with us, even like when we were in the beginning stages, we got a lot of pushback and things like that, but we all was like, nah, we just gonna focus on what's for us, and everything else is written in history. So I think that's just anything in life. Like you can't just always sit around and wait for things to come at you. Like you got to kind of go for it on your own and say like, all right, if you're not going to do this, I'm going to make sure I still do this on my own.
Yep.
And then a good story about somebody who was on the edge, who ended up getting himself on the edge. I don't know if y'all watch ECW like that, but do y'all remember when Taz and Sabu were supposed to wrestle the Public Enemy and Benoit and Dean in a three-way tag match? Sabu couldn't show up. So they fired Sabu, but then they brought him back. But Taz legitimately held a grudge with Sabu over that. And Taz started cutting real-life promos on Sabu. Sabu would never come out. He cut him every night. He hates Sabu, this and that, blah, blah. So eventually Sabu legitimately came out, and they had one of the biggest feuds in the promotion.
Oh, okay, yeah. I remember that. Okay.
They had to go at the element and just had to make this shit happen, even though Sabu was ignoring him. But at some point, Sabu had to say, like, you know what, man, fuck it. I got to do it now because he keep calling me out. Like, that felt like that was what built Taz. And I don't think Taz has been, you watch back through his career, I don't think Taz has been that edgy since that angle.
Well, because I don't think he was ever challenged the way that Sabu challenged him.
And Sabu never challenged him. He challenged Sabu.
No, I mean in a sense where like when Taz would keep going at him, like to him that was the challenge in the race to call him out. Like I don't think he's ever had that type of energy with anybody else in his entire career.
Right.
So I think that was the beauty in terms of Taz and Sabu, was that it was kind of like real life shit mixing with some wrestling shit, because you were just like, bro, where were you when I needed you? And then that kind of created their own story. So I don't think there was anybody else he had that type of like energy or vibe with like that outside of Sabu.
I don't think so either.
It's one of those things where real life emotions creates fucking epic shit. Like we all remember.
Oh, that Matt and
like we all remember that. We all talk about it till this day because it was legit heat. And every time I see Edge, I'm just like, damn, dude. Damn. Damn.
That was real life.
It's real life stuff. And it's always the one thing about it is it's sports entertainment, but it's entertainment creates feelings.
Yep.
Like when you watch a match and then you're like, let's go back to Brock, you want that little guy to win. You like, yo, I want this guy to beat this fucking guy, this giant, this big dude. And it works. Speaking of the giant, big dudes, I saw Big Show just pop up out of nowhere, McIntyre.
First of all, that was the lamest shit I've ever seen, ever.
Oh my God. This is the moment that got me upset because I'm looking like so clearly like we didn't take to see him took pictures after he won the title. Do like
he
all
got
of that.
the plates changed.
Yeah, everything. So basically, he went out and said, "Let me go interview in the ring." So Big Show was at home, drove over there at the end. Hey, let's fight. Nigga. Really? Yes, I was high when I was watching it. I was thinking like this for like a good hour. Like, yo, I'm not dumb. It was stupid.
They were trying to promote his new show.
They were trying to promote the show, but it was just like y'all could have definitely. I would have rather him like did something with like Gronk or something like, or the 24/7 title. Like it just made zero sense for you to challenge the newly crowned.
You should did it. You should did it Monday night. You should did it Monday night. Like you could literally just take that as a Monday night segment.
Well, speaking about Monday, what's everybody's thoughts of the return of Nia Jax? And also the call up of Bianca Belair.
Wait. Raw was stupid in the beginning because literally you could have saved everyone time and space by saying that, hey, you know what? You are interfering. Let's make this a
you had to bill it where she came out. You had to bill it. Don't do that. And they on a 50-person limit. So like you gotta use
put her match first to showcase her match. Put that match first. Then you could have put like the whole 3-on-3 match. That was stupid. But you know what? I gotta grade it on a curve. So it was fine.
Nia Jax coming back, I love that.
Are you looking for her?
Right here, B. That's not her. So I love that. Shoot. It's good to see her back in the ring, Shorty looking great and shit.
How do you like that she uses Paige's finisher though?
It's all good. Paige don't wrestle no more. It's
no wrestle no more.
It's mine. Relax, Ma. Sit down.
Exactly.
Not a fan.
There's no difference with all these wrestlers using the Canadian Destroyer.
I was just asking a question. Like, relax.
But I'm not a fan of Bianca Belair being on Raw. I know that some people are excited about it, but let's be real. I don't feel what she did in NXT was done yet. What she needed to do in NXT was done. Like, I feel she still needed a title. I don't think they're going to do anything great with her on the women's roster, in my opinion.
Why?
Because they're going to try to push the whole her being married. I don't want her to be a valet to the Street Profits.
Right.
Unless they're going to become a legit, faction, then that's a different conversation.
I kind of argue with Naomi.
Huh?
She's on a different brand, though.
No. I said how Usos are with Naomi.
Oh, sometimes.
But the thing is, you have this woman who was hitting her stride at NXT. Like, legit hitting her stride at NXT. And she was becoming a bona fide superstar. And with the fact that Rhea Ripley, we don't know when she's coming back because her visa's expired. her working visas expire for Australia.
She don't marry the nigga she with and just call it a day and get this K1.
Don't do that. Don't do
Well,
that.
that would
Don't
be
do
smart.
that.
That would be smart. But it's a
Come
love.
on.
It's a marriage right now. But you have a woman who was there, who was right there. She was, and then you rip that apart. You put her on Raw. I get it. We're trying to mix things up right now, but you had something in the making that would have been dope. Her versus Charlotte in a match where Charlotte could have
dope.
this level. It's I'm not a fan of it, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, it's not to say that Charlotte and Bianca won't ever happen. You know what I mean? Because eventually Charlotte will drop that NXT title.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I don't think I think that's too soon to say like it'll never happen. Like woo woo woo. I think Bianca moving up definitely gives one of the other girls that are in NXT an opportunity to move up, and it gives her that opportunity to kind of grow as her own superstar on a different plateau.
Okay.
So I can appreciate them, and plus too, Raw's women's division is like shaky because they've only been focused on Asuka and her talking, and Becky being Becky. So I feel like adding Bianca definitely adds a different level.
That's gonna be a good match though. Asuka versus Bianca Belair.
That's what I'm saying. I think it adds a different level. I think for her and a different challenge for her. I think in the beginning she's gonna rock out with Street Profits because that just makes sense and it's her husband. But I think eventually she'll be fine on her own.
I agree.
Okay, what about you, Zuka?
I think it's a good look for Bianca Belair to be on Raw because she got a different type of energy. Like when I look at her wrestle, I literally am like, wow. I'm like, this woman is like spectacular. Like the way she moves, how her wrestling gear looks, how she carries herself, all that stuff. She reminds me of a wrestler that don't need a belt because her star power, she is just so magnetic that it's like you can put her on any show and I feel like she's gonna outshine any female you put on the roster because all the stuff she's doing in the ring, how the way she carries herself, she's still working on her promos a little bit, but she'll get there. It just then she creates her own gear. You know what I mean? So it's like she already got in her mind like what she wants for herself and how she gonna present herself out there in front of the audience, stuff like that. So I think it's a good move. People say she ain't hit her stride at NXT, but I felt like she did in a sense. She just didn't win a belt, but she don't have to win a belt because she already built herself up as a star. She built herself up at the Rumble. She built herself up at the Survivor Series, and it's like, where else could she go? She go to Raw, win a belt.
She couldn't go to SmackDown.
Huh?
She couldn't go to SmackDown because, and I told the boys that I said because they already have so many different personalities, and then plus her and Sasha's characters are so kind of similar. It would have made no sense for her to be on SmackDown.
Sasha don't got that like. That's what I said. Bianca Belair on a different level. Like Sasha don't got that swag like Bianca got. Like,
well, Sasha was great. Was raised around different people. You know what I mean? I'm gonna keep it like that.
Yeah, it's like
so it is what it is on that one. I agree with you, but I'm still saying she could be one of the bigger faces and a bigger face in NXT. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I see it this way. Her being with the Street Profits is good because not only that she was able to develop her mic skills. If it's Cena Vega and the LWO versus the Street Profits, then she'll learn how to like carry herself in the ring as a valet and able to speak for them. So be a point where like she's more close to her husband. I know all four of them, all of them will work together to make the good promos. So to me, this is just another stepping stone to like refine her character. Because Bianca Belair, when she first came to then until now, night and day, dogs. It's all part of her building up her legacy, building characters, building blocks to the ultimate version of her. Because Bianca Belair ain't done. She's far from done. She's under 30, but once you hit that stride, under 30 as a black woman, Black queens shine after 30.
And you know what's good for them being together on the same show on the real life aspect? Now we got a positive black couple on television.
Another one.
Now,
Another one.
The kids to
Stay
see,
woke,
the
people. Stay
adults
woke.
to see. Now we got that culture out there, so people can see like, dang man, it's
Exactly.
It's more like a cool black couple, you know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
that. And they show that on social media and stuff like that. So
Exactly.
it's a good look.
Oh, underrated moment of WrestleMania that nobody's talking about when Team Bad did their whole little signature pound, and they did that. And that moment, I took a snapshot in my brain. I said, "Yo, 3 women of color at WrestleMania," and then the era where women are taken seriously. Yep. No one's talking about that.
I do want to touch on Bianca's star power, because I always talk to the Zuka. I always like my brother and Miss HR about how other people who are outside of wrestling. So one of my close friends, she texted me. She's like, "Yo, who's this Bianca?" She doesn't watch wrestling. She just was flipping through the channels. She was flipping through the channels, and she was like, "Yo, this chick is badass." Like she just text. Like I'll have random friends who text me, like, "Yo, who's this person?" And I always see when somebody says that person's gonna be the next star, because their star power is shining beyond the wrestling world.
Yep.
So yeah, we'll say her star power is growing and it's very strong, and especially since my homegirl hit me up just to ask me, yo, who is that? I can give you that, but I still she should be in NXT.
Yeah, I feel you, because everybody like NXT. Everybody I fuck with NXT. I mean, it was great. It's just that
Oh shoot, NXT is on.
It would be nice. It might be something new to see her do something different on a different show, stuff like that. But she man, just how the way she wrestles and stuff like that. Like she's aggressive, and like it's like everything she does has a purpose to it.
Yeah,
I feel like that's what like sets her apart. Like Rhea Ripley, she real good too. I like. There's only 3 girls I like: Rhea Ripley, Charlotte, and Bianca Belair.
Mm-hmm.
And all of them wrestle.
The thing about it, Rhea Ripley, not really. I don't know. Was she wrestling at Progress before NXT UK?
Yeah, I only seen her in WWE.
But is she a product of WWE or no?
I have no idea.
She might be, because she was.
I knew she was on NXT UK.
I know NXT UK, but what was she doing before then? Because I know Tony like shine.
Oh, she was doing like probably the same shit Tony was doing.
Okay, so the reason why you like those people of the way that they wrestle is because Charlotte and Bianca are products of WWE Performance Center. So they teach them, like they sprinkle the new school stuff on there.
Mm-hmm.
Like the old school way of doing it. Which is the Performance Center. Right. They're one of the few people from the Performance Center who've risen to like prominence. Okay. So yeah.
And I don't know, man. They don't. I don't want to say it like that, but they wrestle like more physical. I don't want to say they don't wrestle girly.
Yeah, thank you. Someone said it.
They don't wrestle girly. Like they wrestle physically. Like it's not like
people.
Huh?
They hit people.
Yeah, like they don't wrestle girly, man. That's why I like them more like that. That's why I always say like
soft about the way that they wrestle.
Huh?
There's nothing soft about the way that they wrestle.
Right.
And I get you. That's why I like Nia. She's a heavy hitter. I like.
Yeah.
I know that. Exactly. Like one of the few chicks in the industry who I do love, like the independent scene. Like I love Savannah because she be hitting bitches.
Oh yeah.
Part of my language, but she straight be hitting bitches. Rufus Waller hitting bitches. Like, yo, you're gonna feel this tomorrow.
Holly did too.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, she really be hitting bitches.
Like, she hitting them. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Get back up. Let's wrap up. I gotta catch NXT right now.
Yeah, I mean, before we wrap up, I do want to do a short Q&A of our guests. As everyone that's listening and watching, we had Zuka King be a guest guest with us, but he also is his own wrestler himself. So, guys, I want at least everyone to ask him one question before we do sign off about him, so he could tell
How you got
everybody
your
about
name,
him.
Zuka?
Zuka.
I was I used to study a lot of African history when I was younger, stuff like that, and I was actually a part of a couple of Black Power movements, like in my early 20s, and I didn't want to have the regular street type name, so that like Low T or Big T or something like that. So I just went and researched some African names, and I'm running with it ever since.
So, what does the name Zuka mean?
It's Zimbabwe. It's from Zimbabwe, but it means money. But I didn't get it. I didn't get it because it meant money. I just like the sound of that name, Zuka. Yeah. I feel like it'll stick. You know,
Nah, it doesn't.
I can see him saying it. Zuka.
Who do you model your wrestling style after? Who do you take wrestling things from?
Good question.
Oh man, I take a little bit from Rick. With my promos, I take a little bit from New Jack.
Wow. 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 But New Jack does cut one hell of a promo, so I respect it.
Poetic justice.
I don't know, man. I just really kind of do my own thing. I do a little. I'm very animated with stuff, but I get that from like watching like old school guys be all animated when they get hit and stuff like that. Just try to, I don't want to get hit and be like this. I want to be like all over. Make it look like a motherfucker hit me, But I really can't say like. I think I give him a little promo style from Jack a little bit and I do a little antics like Ric Flair and stuff like that, but getting that particular style, like I don't know. I just go out there and wrestle, bro. Like I don't really think about all that stuff.
Okay, I respect it, but I love the name. Zuka King.
Zuka King.
Oh Lord, you guys are obnoxious. Zuka, question: if there was one thing you could change about the wrestling business right now, what would it be and why?
Oh, the Outlaws.
Yeah, get them out of here.
Sorry.
I'd bring back.
Yo, you mad far behind.
Shut up, stupid.
I bring back kayfabe and I really want the mystique of the business to come back. The mystique of the wrestlers. So guys can feel like bigger than life, and not everything with wrestling so in the open.
I respect.
Yeah, because I feel like once a lot of people start to know things about wrestling, it took away from the business, stuff like that. Even like as a wrestler. When I started learning stuff in wrestling and just like training and stuff like that.
How long you been wrestling? Who's your trainer?
Bob Keller, the Fabulous Playboy, and I also got trained by John Schuyler. He did stuff with NXT, Ring of Honor, England, China, all that. He did some Impact, everything. But yeah, just like training and then like going back and watch stuff, I'm like, man, like it kind of took away from me a little bit because now I know it. I know certain things about the business, stuff like that. But it's cool though.
That's good.
Right. Trying to think. Dream match.
Me?
Yeah, you.
It would have to be against Negro Casas. He's one of my favorite wrestlers. He's like one of the biggest stars in Mexico. He's wrestling since like the 80s, I think. But he's still wrestling to the day.
Okay, guys, any other questions or anything?
No, that'll be. I know you want to go watch some wrestling too.
What you gonna watch tonight?
I don't know. I know I probably will. I don't know what I'm watching tonight. I know it's gonna be some old school shit. I just don't know. Probably watch Flair wrestle somebody for like an hour or something.
that old school stuff be long, bro.
Oh yeah. It's good though, man. I watch it just to study and learn, just to do stuff like everybody doing all the new shit and all the new flips and stuff like that. I try to look at it to bring see something in the old, see something old and bring it new again.
Yeah, I see. I definitely understand you on that point.
And plus, I watch a lot of heel work. I watch the heels do this stuff, and then I'll go back and watch the baby face do their stuff. You know what I mean? So I can get the best of both worlds, or like how to react to when a babyface does something to me, or what do I need to do to a babyface to get the people to really hate me and stuff like that. Stuff like that. I look at the most stuff in wrestling.
So who's the best heel in the business right now?
Besides me,
outside of you,
I have to go with MJF, because MJF is his character. Like he didn't come. I mean, he's a flashy dude, but he come in there and he knows his character, and he knows how to get over with his character. Like he knows how to separate himself from the rest of the guys in AEW. Most of the guys get the big pops or the pops for the moves, stuff like that. He's the only guy that legitimately gets booed. And if you're a heel, that's what you want. You don't want to get cheered for doing what you do. You want to get booed for it.
Shout out to Darius Carter, his pops.
Yeah. But see, I seen Darius Carter. I think I seen him wrestle. I think the only time I actually watched him wrestle when he wrestled Montana. That was my first time watching him wrestle. Mm-hmm. So, but he was very good. He's very talented.
Nah, check out his YouTube stuff, and you're gonna see what my brother's talking about. He is a heel at its finest.
Right.
Yes.
Facial expression, the way he puts in he gives heat is very classic. Even his moveset is very heelish.
Old school.
That's what I watched tonight, matter of fact.
Huh?
That's what I watched tonight.
Yeah,
look him up.
I gave me somebody to watch.
Look him up on YouTube. You'll definitely understand of what my brother's saying is that this man works like a heel and is a heel in real life.
Right.
Like, watch some of his promos. I've done work with him. I'm breaking kayfabe right now, but I've done work with him where the dude literally is a learning tree.
Right.
He's one of the dudes in the business that will like, yo, hey, what should I do next? He'll teach you how to do it because he's been in the Northeast wrestling scene for a while.
Right.
So yeah,
from just that first interaction I had with him at Bree, he's very professional. Like he looks professional. Like he looks like a wrestler. He looks like he knows what he's doing. Because I always pay attention to guys. I just don't that guys and girls. I don't really say too much, right? I always pay attention to how they carry themselves and stuff like that. But he's like one of the most professional dudes I've seen on just looking at him. You know what I mean? And how he carries himself, how he carries himself to the ring, how he just moves around in the ring, stuff like that. Like you can tell, brother got it. And he knows what he's doing, stuff like that.
When William Regal is looking at you constantly, you're doing something right.
Right. No doubt.
You're doing something right. Because there's a couple of dudes I know for a fact that he's been looking at it and now they're in NXT.
Right.
Or on the Raw.
That is true.
Oh, okay.
Well, what's next for Zuka King before we do sign off? I mean, post Rona season.
That's nothing. It's supposed to be. I was supposed to wrestle Urban Combat Wrestling on June 13th, but we just gotta wait and see.
Okay, we're at
Asheville, North Carolina. I did their last show. That's probably been one of the funnest shows I've ever been a part of.
Who you fought?
Huh?
Who you fought?
This guy named Mook. He's one of the co-promoters.
Oh, okay.
Mook?
You gonna say Mook, the BTSG or something like that?
Wait, you wrestled the promoter?
Yeah, the co-promoter.
Yo, could you ever imagine if Cole ever wrestled and promoted? Yeah.
He's gonna come out to All About the Benjamin.
No shade to Cole though, but I love him. But I was just like, wait, could you imagine like the promoters actually wrestle?
With a Steve Harvey job, with a Steve Harvey coat and Steve Harvey suit, big boot in everybody, with his glasses.
It's so funny.
And as he's doing it, like he tells you go to to push your local indie table. Just imagine.
I can't do. But anyway, this has been fun. You are always welcome back, Mr. Zuka King, to join us.
Zuka King.
Anyway, you can why don't you tell everyone where to find you and all that jazz?
You can find me on Instagram on Zuka_King_, Facebook at Zuka King, and Twitter on as Z_shop_DA World.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, boys. Any last words before we do sign off so I can finish watching NXT?
Wash your hands, motherfuckers.
Right.
No, not only wash your hands, wash your ass, wash everything.
All right. I'll see you guys.
All right. You guys be good. Take care. # Black Excellence. # we're out.
I was over, got the hands in motion. If you go with rolling, no need to focus. Traveling states and over oceans, you gotta wait till your coast chosen. Trying to have lines outside the show like Harry Potter releases at Barnes & Noble.